All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real music and the culture and the Super Bowl yet again. Something interesting out there is happening. Doing what I do in real time for a few real people just like you right there and like me here. So, the King of Country is being touted as a replacement for Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl as a petition gains major traction. Now, it's one of those change.org petitions, and they typically don't go anywhere. I think the change.org things are there for people so they can vent, and then they can say, look how many people supported George Strait. I'm 100% for this. So it says here a fan generated petition for George Strait to replace Bad Bunny as the halftime entertainment is gaining traction online. As Entertainment Weekly reports, there have been negative reactions in some quarters to the NFL's announcement that the Puerto Rican superstar should perform the halftime show in 2026. Of course, they say more conservative quarters. How about more normal quarters? Huh? The argument that they make here, I think, is pretty interesting. Keep in mind, 2026 is the 250th anniversary of America. Okay, so maybe some American music for the Super Bowl. I know it's not official until what? Independence Day? But it's getting close, right? The change.org petition calling for Strait to replace Bad Bunny has now 58,000 signatures. In recent years, this performance has leaned increasingly towards modern pop and international artists. And this is the petition and their, I don't know what you want to call this, their preamble to where you're supposed to sign. While this approach certainly broadens the audience, it's pivotal to remember the roots that have made American music what it is today. The petition further states that Strait is not only a legend in the country music genre, but a staple in American music history. Now, let me just stop right here and say one thing about George Strait. I think he's too good for halftime. He's too good for halftime, okay? But when you're gonna replace someone, you gotta shoot high, and they shot for the King of Country, and good for them. All right, because so many people love George Strait. I mean, he's sold more records than most people in any genre. Okay, if you look up how many albums George Strait has sold, I've got one of those vinyl LPs behind me here. I figured it was apropos for this particular episode of the Harmless Dave Show. The Super Bowl, they go on to say the Super Bowl halftime show should unite our country, honor American culture, and remain family friendly, and not be turned into a political stunt. Wow, that is well said. Even if you didn't believe in honoring American culture, again, the 250th anniversary of America, 2026, right? Also, the 25th anniversary of that horrible event that happened at Ground Zero in New York. I mean, you think we could lean a little? We don't have to do Lee Greenwood, okay? Somebody was making fun. Really? We're going to have 82-year-old Lee Greenwood there? That's not very entertaining. George Strait would be entertaining, all right? For some people, right? Just like Bad Bunny supposedly is going to be entertaining for some people. And they go on to say, Bad Bunny represents none of these values. His drag performances and style are the opposite of what families expect on football's biggest stage. No, you see that stuff on Jimmy Kimmel. That's where, if you want to see that stuff, you can tune into Jimmy Kimmel. And reading to kids again. Oh my gosh. And people wonder why the word grooming became a thing a few years ago. I mean, what else? What else is it? Oh, it's harmless. No, I'm harmless. I'm harmless. I would never Anyway, it just, for the love of God, people. George Strait embodies unity, tradition, and the timeless American music that truly deserves the 2026 Super Bowl spotlight. Again, they mentioned 58,000 signatures as of publication time. I'm going to link to the petition in the description. So if you want to go there and sign the petition. Here's the deal. I've talked about country music before because it would be great at the Super Bowl. But get this. They've been few and far between. Several different country artists have performed the national anthem at the Super Bowl or taken part in other performances. But as far as halftime, you got to go back to 2003 for Shania Twain. And she was way ahead of her time with Man, I Feel Like a Woman. And her other song called Up, okay? Shania Twain. And also featuring No Doubt and Sting during the halftime show, which, quite honestly, that's way better. I would take No Doubt, Sting, and Shania Twain. The Super Bowl, by the way, is set to take place on February 8th, 2026. Of course, Turning Point USA has advertised an alternative show, which, by the way, the media said was fake news, all right? And it turns out it wasn't fake news. And now they're probably going to fact check. There is no petition to get George Strait to replace Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. It's false. It's fake news. Not according to this article, which is on a country radio station website, Country 106.5 WYRK, which I think is somewhere in New York State. So anyway, you can go to their website and see the article. I'd love to see George Strait at halftime. I don't think you're gonna. George is a little past his prime. I don't think he wants that much of the spotlight. I think, you know who would be awesome is this woman who I just discovered, all right? And I know she's been around for a couple of years now. I shared this with patrons because I love the song so much. Ella Langley, all right? Go look up Ella Langley. She's got this new song out, which is just amazing. It's called Choosin' Texas, and it is so good. Sounds like something you'd probably time travel to, you know, I don't know, depending on your taste in music, but Ella Langley, she's good. She's really good. And you know what? Maybe she could open for George, right? She could do a couple of songs and then George could come out and the place would go crazy. All right. And maybe Turning Point wouldn't have to do their alternative show. I think they'd probably say, yeah, we're not going to do it now. I don't think it's going anywhere. These change.org things, they typically don't go anywhere, but we can hope, right? All right. So that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. You know, I believe America is a melting pot, should be a melting pot, but the melting really isn't happening anymore. You know, nobody wants to melt. Everybody wants to have this little chunk of whatever and retain that. And, you know, the only way this works is if we have kind of a unified culture, and we obviously do not. So that's just my opinion. And yes, I could be wrong. And yes, I could be stupid and all of the above. Okay. But I am who I am. Thanks to Jesus. All right. I got Jesus in the video. Thank God for Jesus, because we'd all be screwed without the hope of the gospel. All right. 100% screwed. No hope whatsoever. Don't go through your life without any hope. For the love of God, believe in Jesus.